going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Friday, February 17th, 2023. It's still not used to saying that still. My name is Jeremy, and this is my first cup. Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Rebecca. Good morning, Dennis, and whoever else is out there. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you all. I hope you had a great Thursday. I hope you're looking forward to a great Friday and a great weekend. I know I am. We've got jokes for you today. We've got some stuff to talk about. There's just so much going on. And I'm glad you're here with me. I really am. I have to say, I woke up and I looked at the clock and I thought, I could go back to bed. I could just have like another 15 minutes. I could do it. But I powered through and I didn't. And I got through my morning routine with probably 3 to 5 minutes to spare, which was great. And I feel awake and alert and alive. That's a good feeling. Dennis says, I'm a fan of this thing we call Fri-Yay, as am I, my friend. I've told you guys that I've been working on taking cold showers. And we talked about this a little bit. And I told you that I feel like the secret for me was finding this little thermometer that I could thread in line with my shower head and just slowly chip it down, slowly bring it down. And it's been working. So, of course, when I was in Mexico, I had no idea the temperature of the shower I was using, other than most days it seemed like it took 10 minutes for the shower to warm up. Now, I wasn't generally taking 10-minute cold showers. And we can acknowledge that cold water in Mexico is probably not as cold water in wintry Vermont. But it was still cold. It didn't bother me that much. And I thought, it'll be interesting to see how I'm feeling with the cold water when I get home. Well, when I started this whole process, I needed to start my shower at 98, 99 degrees to feel comfortable. That's too hot now. Now I'm happier at like 94, 95. And the water doesn't feel uncomfortably cold until I get into the mid 70s. 85 degrees. Okay. Yeah. Am I thrilled about it? No, but I'm fine. I can sit in there. My teeth don't chatter and my heart rate doesn't come up. It's not until I get down to mid 70s, and today I got down to 68 degrees, and I checked the water coming out straight cold is 60. So I don't have much further to go. But here are a couple things that I've noticed. One, I wake up. It's wonderful for waking up. But two, it seems to make me a little more resilient to temperature. On the days I was in Mexico when it was 85 degrees and, bright, really sunny, didn't really bother me. I went into the grocery store last night and it was 40 and I was wearing a leather jacket. Didn't bother me. Temperature doesn't seem to bother me as much. So that's kind of neat. So I thought I would share that with all of you. Good morning, Kelly. Good morning, Mark. Good morning, Nathan. And good morning, Andy. Look at all my friends coming out of the woodwork today. I think you all just show up on some, not all of you. In fact, I don't think anybody here. But there are Fridays that I've noticed. I feel like we have more people on Friday. What did I do yesterday? I had a bunch of calls. I had one that was supposed to happen, and we had to reschedule for Monday. That bummed me out a little bit. But that's okay. It's with a new client, someone who's coming on, and we're figuring out details. But I look at my schedule today, and I have one call kind of in the middle with one of my clients. We're talking about something specific. And actually, I'm really, really pumped for them because it's for an event that they're doing. And so most of you, I'll explain this a little bit. Most of the clients that I work with are very, very small. They have, one person, 3 people, maybe 5 people in their organization. And that's kind of the sweet spot for me, because it means I can guide, I can assist, but I'm also doing some work for them. And, it really becomes beneficial to the client. This particular client, there is something going on that they're marketing for. And one of the people that I don't generally work with reached out and said, I want to talk to you about how to market this thing that we're doing. How do we promote this? And I'm so pumped that they're interested and they're excited and they want to learn, because it's something that I think we've gotten really good at Whistlekick, putting on events. I was talking to somebody yesterday, actually a different client on the phone, to say, hey, we sold out of our end of April event more than 3 months ahead, 3.5 months ahead. Last year, we didn't even sell out. What's going to happen next year? Good morning, Jenny. Frank says, how much does one of these temperature shower things cost? It was like $15. It was super cheap. I expected it to be more. I would have spent more, but it was really easy. And if you're going to put one of those on yourself, the only thing I think you need is you might want to have some plumber's tape. I don't know if you're familiar with plumber's tape. It's like a really thin, it looks like whiteout. If you've ever taken the whiteout dispensers, not the liquid, but the dispensers, it looks like that. And it's really thin and it just helps create a seal. And so I just took off the shower head and put a little bit of plumber's tape on and threaded it in. And that was it. That's all I had to do. It's got a battery, but it's built in. It all just works. Pretty cool. What else happened yesterday? Went and grabbed some food at Costco. Had the world's most expensive salad at Panera. Somehow a salad became $20. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but I remember Panera was super cheap. And this was not a fancy salad. What else? Did a bunch of work. I stopped by the gym and started working out. It just my body needed more time. So I did some squatting and that was it. Now today, with just that one client call, I've got a ton of little stuff, bunch of cleanup work. Got to work on somebody's website. I'm taking a look at where we're at with laying out the emails for Kick Clinic. A bunch of you are doing Kick Clinic, and I love seeing you posting on social media that you're doing Kick Clinic and enjoying it. And I would love because we've got a couple of you who are doing Kick Clinic here. Could you post in the chat your thoughts, what you're really thinking about it? I assume you're enjoying it because you're still doing it, and I haven't heard anybody say, Jeremy, this sucks, I hate it. But I'd love to know what you're finding with it. That'd be great. For those of you who did the 30-day challenge, a lot of you did not fill out the survey, and it would really mean a lot to me if you could take that. I think it was the last 2 emails, we had a survey, because I'm trying to get some data so I can put it back into the description to get more people to do the 30-day challenge. Why? Because after the 30-day challenge, they're more likely to do something else. Very transparent in terms of a business model, but I would love some more survey submissions on that. And one of the other things I'm doing today is, what's the next program we're doing? I've got some ideas for Kick Clinic 2, but I'm not sure that I want to go there yet. I think I want to do something different. And I've got about 17 ideas. So we're going to take a look at that. And I will probably start laying that out, because we don't have a lot of time left. Because I know the people that did 30-day, that are doing Kick Clinic, I got the feeling most of you want to keep going. So we're gonna add something else. We're gonna add another program, and I'm excited for that. Frank says, I'm hoping you get a chuckle out of the jokes I said. A little bit of foreshadowing there. But what are you all doing today? And what are you doing this weekend? I'll tell you that this weekend I'm headed south, do a little bit of filming for some things, hanging out. That's about it. Should be a light weekend. I'm looking forward to it. We've got this storm coming in. We'll see if it actually happens, if it's a real storm. And yeah, so just let me know what's going on with you, what you've got planned. Now, I remembered something that I forgot to talk about like a week ago. I mentioned that there was a grumpy old man on one of, excuse me. Hold on, there's another sneeze. On this excursion I went on. And I wanted to talk about it a little bit. And the day I was going to talk about it was the day that I just didn't do a show because I was exhausted and I slept. So I thought I would talk about that. And while I'm doing that, you all can let me know what you've got going on, what you did yesterday, what you're doing today, what you're doing this weekend, because I want to know. I really do want to know. So met this gentleman. He was older, from Northern Europe, and everything that happened through the day, he was unhappy. He assumed the worst. When the initial shuttle picked us up from our hotels, we weren't at the same hotel, picked me up, then picked him up. He started to get really upset because they took his receipt, basically a ticket, right? And he's like, I need proof that I paid you. And I said, and the driver, because they speak English, but their English is not perfect. And I said, look, hey, we're in the same situation. I think it's going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about it. This does not seem like a scammy sort of a setup. Like this is, they've got multiple vans with their logo on the side. They know what they're doing. And he kind of mumbled a little bit, but relented. And then we were waiting to be picked up to go to the first part of the excursion. And he asked me at least once, do you think they forgot about us? Did they ignore, just really assuming the worst. And then we're underground, walking through these underground lakes, these cenotes, and he overhears other people on the trip talking about what they're doing next. And he pretty much loses it. He's like, I wanted to see pyramids. I paid to see pyramids. And he's not quite in the face of the tour guide, but it's not far off from that. As if this guy leading this tour is the coordinator of everything. He's obviously not. We haven't seen him before we got to this place. And it took the couple who was not going and the tour guide and me to get him to realize that we weren't all on the same tour together, that we were together for part of it. But some of us were going on to do another thing. And instead of saying, okay, that makes sense. I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm uncomfortable in this strange country, something like that. His end response there was, I'm not paying more. You're not going to pay more, dude. Chill. And it was really striking to me how this man, who's probably 80, was just so unhappy about everything. And I saw him later when we got to Koba, to the pyramid there. We were on the bus and I just watched him walking and he just had a frown on his face. And I saw him a couple days later in town and he had a frown on his face. And I just thought, how can you be this unhappy on vacation? How would you be this unhappy? And I thought it was kind of sad. Dennis says this weekend he's visiting his folks in New York, 2 weekends in a row. Wonderful. Enjoy. Regarding Kick Clinic, Jenny says those Cossack squats are everything. Love the movement. My range of motion is more comfortable and natural. No one watches me closely enough to tell me if there's a change to my kicks yet, but I feel like I'm more balanced and controlled when kicking. And the feeling, it's most people are about halfway through. Are you going to be dramatically better in 2 weeks? Probably not. Are you going to feel better in 2 weeks? Yes. Are you going to be noticeably better in a month? Yes. And that's the expectation, right? If somebody wanted to be dramatically better in 2 weeks, we'd need to do more than 10 minutes a day. That would be a 30 to 60-minute program. Mark says, for myself, Kick Clinic is getting things moving again. Hips and knees, everything is moving better. And yes, my kicks are getting much better again. I'm getting back to my youthful self. That is awesome. That makes me really happy. Rebecca says, are you sure it wasn't my dad you met? Probably not, based on where he said he lived. But who knows? Life is too short for us to get upset about everything, especially the things that we can't control. Now, this trip that I went on, the whole purpose I went on this trip, the whole day, was because this one pyramid was supposedly the last pyramid that you could still climb. Couldn't climb it anymore. That made me sad. I really wanted to stand barefoot on the top of a pyramid because I thought that'd be cool. And I talked to the guy who led that part of the tour, and I was like, hey, this is what I heard. And he's like, yeah, they closed that up about 3 years ago. Dang it. Okay. So I guess if I want to stand on top of a pyramid, I got to find my own. Got to hack away with a machete. So a lot of creative machete use in Mexico. Do you know you can use a machete to dig out edging along, like concrete, like dig out? You can do that. I saw that. Dennis says that old man must have been married to be so grumpy. Woo! I don't think so. Maybe that's why he was grumpy, because he's not married. Maybe his wife passed. Who knows? But I tried to cheer him up a little bit. I tried to offer some support. But and we're leaving. We're about to leave. And I know this feeling. I know what it feels like. Because when I was younger, I was grumpy and skeptical and had this victim mentality. And it's very much what he had. And we got all of our stuff back together, and he started rifling through his backpack, and he couldn't find his wallet. And he didn't say it, but you could tell that the first thing he thought was not, maybe my wallet fell underneath something or was in a shoe in my bag, but it was, who stole my wallet? That was the first place his mind went. You could see it, but he didn't say it. And then once again, he kept looking, he found it, and he got kind of subdued. It was interesting. So there you go. All right, now we do have jokes. Frank sent over jokes. We're going to do the jokes first because yay, jokes. The jokes for Fun Day Friday. On the seventh day, God rested. Chuck Norris took over. Chuck Norris can dribble a bowling ball. Chuck Norris does not use spell check. If he happens to misspell a word, Oxford will change the spelling. Chuck Norris counted to infinity twice. Chuck Norris can speak Braille. I haven't heard that one before. When the boogeyman goes to sleep every night, he checks his closet for Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris can slam revolving doors. Chuck Norris can kill 2 stones with 1 bird. Chuck Norris makes onions cry. Death once had a near Chuck Norris experience. When Chuck Norris writes, he makes paper bleed. Chuck Norris can strangle you with a cordless phone. Chuck Norris can drown fish. Chuck Norris once had a heart attack. His heart lost. When Chuck Norris entered... Oh, it's hard to stop. Chuck Norris once had a heart attack. His heart lost. When Chuck Norris enters a room, he doesn't turn the lights on. He turns the dark off. The only time Chuck Norris was ever wrong was when he thought he had made a mistake. Outer space exists because it's afraid to be on the same planet with Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris does not get frostbite. Chuck Norris bites Frost. Chuck Norris doesn't wear a watch. He decides what time it is. Chuck Norris is the reason Waldo is hiding. Chuck Norris is the only man to ever defeat a brick wall in a game of tennis. Chuck Norris destroyed the periodic table because Chuck Norris only recognizes the element of surprise. The show Survivor had the original premise of putting people on an island with Chuck Norris. There were no survivors. There's some good stuff in there. I haven't heard some of those. Chuck Norris can speak Braille. That's phenomenal. Good morning, Brian. Brian says, ha ha ha, Mr. Norris jokes. I can't say his full name. He will kick me from there. It's a respect thing. That's funny. Thank you, Frank. I appreciate it. And thank you also to Josh for our theme song. And thank you to Denise for our audio. Rebecca says, these are great. Yeah. Jenny says, I love Chuck Norris jokes. I am a happy lady today. Thank you, Frank. Who doesn't like Chuck Norris jokes? They're like the ultimate dad joke. I'm drinking coffee today. It's Friday, so it's coffee, but it's decaf. All righty. Dennis says, brilliance, Frank. And our quotes of conversation for the day. And Frank grabbed the quote that I was referencing yesterday. He says, I believe the quote Jeremy was thinking of from Jim Rohn. Don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. That was the quote. And now, once again, Denzel Washington. I have to say, I didn't realize Denzel Washington was such a thoughtful man. Wonderful actor. I love him as an actor. The greatest lesson I've learned in life is who knows what's good or bad. Things come along that you really want, and they turn out to be the worst thing in the world. And some of the worst tragedies that you can conceive turn out to be the best things, the exact medicine you need in that moment. And so what do we do with that? What do we do with this idea that, what comes to us may be more or less good than we thought it was? We accept it. Whether it's good or bad, you accept it. You move on. You do the best you can, wherever you're at. I deliberated between this mug, which is one of my favorites, and my do what you can with what you have where you are mug. Would have been perfect. Would have lined up wonderfully. I've read a lot of Buddhist stuff, teachings from Buddhist monks, the Dalai Lama, etc. And one of the recurring themes is that if it's good now, it'll be bad later. Eventually, something bad's going to happen. If it's bad now, eventually something good's going to happen. So is it really worth focusing on either one? Just be in the moment. If it's good, enjoy it. If it's bad, there's probably a lesson in there somewhere. And if there's not a lesson, you're just getting stronger. What else are you going to do? You can complain. That doesn't do anything. There's a book called The Sociopath Next Door. I thought most sociopaths were violent. In fact, they aren't. But almost all sociopaths want to win, no matter what. I'm choosing my words here. There are far more sociopaths and psychopaths in society than we realize. Because despite the compulsions they have, most of them also have a great deal of awareness. I've known sociopaths. I don't know that I've known psychopaths. I've known sociopaths. And like anything else, there are degrees. And sometimes we look at someone and we think, oh, well, clearly they're a sociopath. Not necessarily. They may just be operating in their own best interests. There's a point where it tips. I don't know how to describe it, but there's a difference between doing what's best for you and being a sociopath. The will to win, as Denzel Washington's putting it. I want to win, but not at any cost. I'm not going to kill people to win. I'm not going to cause harm to other people. I believe there's always a way without harming others. But if I was a sociopath, maybe I wouldn't care about that. Maybe that wouldn't be the fastest path, so I'd have to go a different direction, even if it means harming someone. I think a lot of the, I want to say that. There is certainly behavior in modern society that we could point to and say that is sociopathic. It is rare. Let's see. Can I think of an example of a sociopath or a psychopath in martial arts? I don't think so. Now, statistically, I'm sure it's existed. But whether you are looking to be worshipped or make a ton of money or pretty much any other goal that someone might have, martial arts is not the fastest path there. So I think there's some self-selection out from the martial arts. It's an interesting topic. Take care, Andy. Frank says, there's a difference between enlightened self-interest and wanting to win at all cost. And there's a difference between wanting to achieve goals at a passionate, dramatic level, being obsessed, and being a sociopath. I'm closer to the first. I have goals and I am hell-bent on achieving them. But I'm not going to step on other people to get there. In part because part of the goal involves building something that I don't step on other people to build. But I get it. We're all presented with opportunities to advance our own interests at the expense of others. But most of us don't take those opportunities because most of us are good people. Kelly says it's scary when you see psychopathic behavior in children. Yeah. Especially when the parents don't see it. Or they shrug it off. Like, yeah, he'll grow out of it. I've taught kids, I wouldn't call them psychopaths, but I've taught kids that could very well grow up to be problems, societal problems, and parents who indulged them. There's this one kid I taught. He didn't work. This was in the brief stint where I had my own school. And we tried him in the group class and it did not work. And parents really wanted him to train. So we started doing some one-on-ones. And I think 3-4 lessons in, he was doing fine. He had no ability to focus whatsoever. The kid was like 8-9 years old, zero focus. And it's probably that 4th class, 3rd class, something like that. It definitely wasn't the 1st class. I'm holding a kicking target and he got distracted, and I bopped him on the head. Not hard, like zero likelihood for pain, and he lost his mind. That was it. That was the last class. What kind of disaster did that kid live? That's how it went, right? And I've thought about this kid from time to time because he's probably, let's see, so that was like 2003. So he's close to 30 now. Is that kid even a mildly functioning adult? Based on what I saw and the way he was being raised, he was never going to be a functional adult. That was scary to me. And our last one today from Mr. Washington. Do what you got to do so you can do what you want to do. Get your work done so you can play. And that's kind of what I'm doing today. I'm going to get my work done, and then I'm going to play. And I don't know if I'll play tonight. We'll see. I may go to bed early again. Again, I didn't really go to bed early last night. 9. I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope if you haven't, you check out yesterday's episode of Martial Arts Radio about Master Hopkick. And I hope if you're willing to support us, you will join the Patreon. I put stuff up yesterday. Make a purchase at whistlekick.com using code FirstCup15 to save 15%. Or check out the family page, which I also updated yesterday. I appreciate you being here with me. Thanks for sharing a cup of whatever. And I'll see you back here on Monday. Take care, everybody.